On this installment of Illinois by the Numbers, the number 27. A study done last year by the think tank State Budget Solutions found that total compensation for Illinois state employees was, on average, 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. Illinois state employees make nearly $4,000 more in wages and north of $13,000 more in benefits than their private sector counterparts. In addition, more than half of Illinois state workers will retire before the age of 60 with their guaranteed state pensions, averaging more than $42,000 and compounding at 3% annually in tow. Without getting bogged down in reciting the all-too-familiar details of the state's financial condition, let's just keep it simple and say what you already know to be true. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent. All of this is useful to consider against the backdrop of Governor Bruce Rauner breaking off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union, representing some 36,000 state workers. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on their demands for annual salary step increases of 3.8% in addition to annual general wage increases. The step increases alone represent a raise of more than 7 times the rate of inflation last year. AFSCME has also been unwilling to give on payment of overtime after 37.5 hours of work in a week, as opposed to the federal law of time and a half after 40 hours of work. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. $1.6 billion more from Illinois families paying the highest property taxes in the nation. $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who are already on the hook for $9 billion in unpaid state bills and another $120 billion in unfunded state pension liabilities. The fiscal reality of the state was not lost on unions representing smaller groups of state workers. For example, the Teamsters, representing nearly 5,000 state employees, agreed to a 4-year general wage freeze, a 4-year freeze on step increases, and starting overtime compensation after 40 hours of work in a week. This is not an attack on public sector workers. It's not an attack on public sector unions. The Teamsters and many rank-and-file AFSCME workers with whom I have spoken have proven eminently reasonable. This is a story of the funding arm of the Illinois political ruling class being spoiled by those they have bought, paid for, and sent to Springfield. AFSCME has always gotten what it's wanted, no matter the price. They like it that way, and they're not particularly keen on changing the cozy arrangement they've had with both parties for generations. This is Rauner's moment of truth. Even more important than a fiscal year budget is sending the unmistakable message to AFSCME and their SEIU and teachers union cohorts that the balance of the 13 million residents of Illinois not in their ranks do not exist as spare parts for the machine that spits out compensation packages 27% higher than their own. If that involves a siege on Springfield, like Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker confronted in Madison, so be it. If that requires layoffs and outsourcing of state work to contractors, so be it. If that requires losing an election, so be it. Rauner ran for governor saying he is not a politician, saying he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true.